Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So, welcome to the live show for the Tea Leaves Book Club for We Are Not Free by Traci Chee. We hope you're all doing very well. Before we dive into the book, we are going to be talking about what we're currently reading, as we always do.
Mhm.
So, yeah, if you're watching, I know people maybe are like coming in. Let us know what you are also currently reading because we always love to know. So, yeah, let's begin. Mary, do you want to start?
Sure. It's funny because I'm actually not reading anything.
What?
Yeah, because I do have an explanation. Okay. Because the last two books that I finished were, well, We Are Not Free, which I
Yeah.
finished today, because of course I did. Um, and then I also recently finished Jane Eyre, which I had a live show for today. So I just finished both of these books, and now I'm debating on what book I should start next. So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Do you wanna let us know what the contenders are for your next book?
Okay.
Do you have like 20 options or is it more like
Yes,
three?
as always. Um, so I always have millions of options, as you know,
Yes, of
but I will probably, well, most likely start Les Mis by Victor Hugo very
course.
soon.
Ooh.
Yes. Um, I will obviously, it will take me ages to finish it, but it's fine. I want to start it. I want to take my time with that. And then I also want to start a fantasy book, but I don't know which one. Yeah, probably a continuation of a series. Like I will either start the sequel to The Lies of Locke Lamora, which you so kindly gifted me.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. Or the sequel to Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb.
Mm.
I really want to read that. Or a Juliet Marillier book, which is a sequel to Daughter of the Forest. So I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, those all sound like great options. And you were saying that like Les Mis will take you ages, and like trust me, it takes everybody ages. So like
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't think that anyone can read that book super fast. It's just too big.
I mean, I'm sure some people can, but it is a superpower that I don't have. So
Completely fair.
yeah.
Sophia, what are you currently reading?
So I'm in the middle of I think it's called They Never Learn. It's like a thriller
Mm.
about like a college campus, but I also am not reading a whole lot right now because the Women's Prize long list comes out next week, which is like a book prize
Oh,
and it's all about like uh, books written by female authors, and I'm trying to like not be in the middle of too many things so that I can check out some books on that list. So that comes out on Tuesday,
mhm.
and then I just finished Middle of Things.
Oh, that's nice. Do you always look into the Women's Prize, like the finalist every year?
So I always like keep an eye on the prize winners, and I like often pick up either like the one that won or like some of the ones on the short list. But I really wanted this year to try and like prioritize reading more of those books. So we'll see how far I get because work is very busy right now. But if I can read a few
Yeah.
from the long list, I think that'd be fun.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
nice.
Nice. Okay. Well, I also just finished. Well, I finished it yesterday. I finished We're Not Free, obviously. And I just started this morning The Winter of the Witch by Catherine
Oh.
Martin, which is the
Mm.
third and final book to the Winter Night series. The first one is The Bear and the Nightingale.
Mhm.
And I was just talking about Mary, like I wasn't working this week, so I read so much. It's actually crazy. Like I read in a week almost as much as I read in the entirety of February. So yeah,
Amazing.
I finished rereading the first one of this series, and I read the second book, and now I'm starting the first one, the
Wow.
last one. So yeah, anyway, it's really, really good. Would highly recommend.
Good. Oh my
Um,
god, that's wonderful.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so we are now going to move into our non-spoilery thoughts for We Are Not Free.
Mhm.
We normally do a synopsis. Yes, we normally do a synopsis.
Mhm.
So do you want to do it or should I do it? Like,
You can do
Go
it.
for it, Sarah.
okay, perfect. I wasn't sure. Okay, so basically, We Are Not Free follows 14 different Japanese American teenagers during the Second World War, so in 1942, right after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And basically, we follow them as they are put into incarceration camps by the US government. And yeah, it's basically about these 14 teenagers and how their lives are completely turned upside down by those events, and how they're trying to like stay connected to one another, but they're kind of like torn apart. So yeah, I personally really, really liked it. I don't know about you, but I really, really enjoyed that book. I thought it was so good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it really, really gave us a different perspective on the Second World War that we really don't have. Like, we really don't have a lot of books that are about that part of that history. So I felt like that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think like overall I gave it like 4 stars. So do you want to
Wow.
like give your ratings and then we can talk a
Sure.
bit more? Anyway, as we do in live shows anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Um,
Mary, do you want to go
yeah.
next?
Sure. Yeah, I also gave it 4 stars actually. I
Yay!
Yeah, I really liked it. I feel like this was a winner for sure. And like you were saying, like I feel like it gives us a perspective that I'm not sure if there aren't any books with this perspective or if they just don't get enough attention, which
Yeah.
is kind of what I feel is happening, unfortunately.
Mhm.
If anyone has any recommendations, by the way, I would love to hear them because I feel like this book gave voice to a lot of people who are often not heard, you know? So I feel like it is very important to read books like this one. And I would love some more recommendations because there probably are a lot of books out there. They just
Yeah.
are not, you know, given the attention that they deserve probably.
Mhm.
But I really liked it. The only thing that I wasn't a major fan of was the amount of perspectives that we got.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes I feel like we could have spent some more time with the characters, and the fact that we had so many points of view, sometimes it became a little, I wouldn't say confusing, but um I don't know, they felt a little too short for me. I just wanted to spend more time with these people, and I feel like a few points of view weren't that necessary because they were from the same families, so we could have just heard from them through the eyes of one person per family, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
um but I really liked it overall. I loved the characters, and it had some very devastating parts, obviously, but I feel like the author did a great job, like giving a real portrayal of the unfortunate events of history while also giving it some very delightful scenes as well that made me smile so much. This book was very sweet at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah. What about
Yeah.
you, Sophia?
I also really enjoyed this book. I felt like that going through like the American school system and like like when we're taught about World War II, we don't really, I think usually like this part of our history or the US history is like addressed, but it's not really given a lot of attention. And I feel like this is a book and a story that like every like middle school, high school kid should be exposed to, because I think it's so important that um we like people are more aware of this. And I felt like it was written in a really like accessible way for like young readers, but also for like older readers too that are like interested in this part of history. I really liked the writing of this story. I thought that there were moments where I thought the symbolism was so beautiful, and I'll talk about a few more of those when we get into like our spoiler
Yeah.
section. But I also agree with you, Mary, though, that I felt like I would get really attached to one perspective, and then I would like you did get some resolution by having multiple perspectives because you'd go back and like hear what other characters were doing. But
Mm-hmm.
I do wish that it was a bit more focused on like a couple of the characters that I was most attached to.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up I rated it a 3 stars on Goodreads, but I think it's really more of like a 3.5 stars. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was really like a really enjoyable book. It reminded me a lot of Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, because that book also has like a million perspectives. And so you're trying to like piece through what's going on. But overall, really, really enjoyed it. And I thought it was written really well.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, we have a
Okay.
comment. This book earned us.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm so happy you
Yay.
enjoyed it.
Me too. And yeah, Pachinko is also on my TBR. I really want to read that one.
Yeah, I've heard of both of these, like Pachinko and They Call This Enemy. I didn't know that they were, well, I kind of know what Pachinko is about. I didn't know like what They Call This Enemy is about. If it's about like the same topic, that's really interesting. So that's
Yeah.
that's a recommendation for you, Mary.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny that you compared it to the Ruda Sepetys book because I've never read that one, but I've been really
Me
meaning
neither.
to read it. So
Yeah,
that's
it's like it's also set in World War II, but it's
yeah.
about like all these characters that are trying to escape Europe, like
Mm.
at the very end of the war, and so they're going to like board this ship to get out. But you get like these really short chapters from like a lot of different perspectives. So I
Huh.
guess the format of the book just really reminded me of that book.
Oh, I didn't know that about that book. I really thought it was about like two characters.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I would recommend it.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Nice.
Oh,
Mm.
Pachinko is more about World War II. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Oh yes,
Oh,
okay, that's where I've heard about that. Okay, yeah,
okay.
that's very
Wow.
interesting. Wow.
That
Okay,
sounds powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Wow.
look into that definitely.
Yeah, me too. Wow.
Great. So do we, well, I feel like we probably have more non-spoilery thoughts before we move into the spoilers. Um, did you have like you were talking about having like some perspective that you were more attached to? Did you have like some in particular that you wanted to discuss maybe?
Yeah, I would say in terms of like parts of the book, I enjoyed all of them, but I think particularly like the end part where like many of the characters went to fight overseas. I thought that there were a lot of really interesting like conflicts and dynamics that were brought up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like this like feeling of like patriotism, but also this like
Mm-hmm.
conflict that so much of what you're like the struggles that many of the characters' families were going through and like just like a lot of the conflict was surrounding like the government of the United States. So I thought that that conflict was super interesting, and I really enjoyed that part of the story. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if there was like a particular perspective that I like really, really enjoyed more than the others, but I kind of liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked them all, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like them all too, actually. I just wish that we either got like less perspectives or if the book maybe had been a bit longer so we could spend more time with them. I'm not sure which one of those I would prefer actually because I liked I liked all of their voices and I do have like one particular scene. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's this part when they send a lot of letters to their dad. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Like
that
like that whole chapter it really got me. It
oh
really
yeah.
got, yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite parts for sure.
Mm.
And then the ending, well, like Sophia was saying, like when they're all together and we just get to see their dynamic with all of them, it's always my favorite part, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure I can pick one favorite. I'm not sure, honestly. I could go with the obvious one. Well, I'm not sure if it is obvious, but I'm not sure. Maybe like Twitchy, I
Oh, I
guess.
love Twitchy too. He's
Yeah, I
definitely
really
one of
liked
my
him.
favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely up there. But like,
Yeah.
I like Tommy as well and Frankie, and I like all of them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, me
Yeah.
too. I really love all of them. So, like, whenever we were switching chapter, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I get to learn about like a new one. Even though, like, I did get a little bit confused sometimes because I've learned since Elena Ferrante that apparently I have this huge problem with names because I keep on. It's crazy because like I read the name and I'm like, okay, I know that character. I know I've read about that character, but then I can't like associate
Yeah.
like which character goes with which name, and it's just
Hmm.
it's a struggle. I don't know how I managed to read fantasy for so long and never like it never became an issue, but somehow in historical fiction it is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, but yeah, but I loved all of them too, and like they were so. I felt like the writing was, like you said, Sophia, like there was a lot of symbolism, and I loved that so much. It was so beautiful, like all of the like all of the passages about Japantown in San Francisco, and like
Yeah.
all of the like the Golden Gate Bridge and all of that, like it was just so good. And yeah, it was very interesting because even though I'm Canadian, like we often learn a lot about American history also in school because
Mm-hmm.
we're neighbors, so like it makes sense. um but I never heard about that. And I also, someone commented on one of my videos where I talked about this book, and they mentioned that we also had that in Canada. Like we had incarceration, that's a hard
Oh.
word to say, um, camps as well. But
Oh gosh.
I never learned about that. Literally, I never heard a word about this at school. I'm sure of it, which is
Wow.
crazy. And
It is crazy.
maybe that's because we didn't have any in Quebec where I live, because French Canadians have been like really anti-war with, because we don't want to be associated with the British. So it's like, anyway, it's a whole deal. So it has been like, I don't know if it has, if we had that here in
Mm-hmm.
like where I live, or if it was in like different English provinces. But even though like we should have learned about that, like that's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to go and read about that for sure, because that's missing from my history classes. Um,
Oh, it's not just yours, I'm sure. Like
oh no,
history is such a tricky thing to learn.
yeah.
Because you're always learning it from someone's perspective, and so there's
Mm.
always something else that there's always another side to the story. So I feel
Oh
like you
no,
need,
for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you need to read from a lot of different resources and do a lot of research, because there's so much to know about your own country, which is scary because they just don't teach you at school.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
for
convenient. Yeah.
sure. Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
oh
So
well.
lots to learn, but thankfully we have great books. um,
Exactly.
um, all right. So should
Yeah.
we then move on to the spoilery sections? Because I feel like there are certain plot points that we really should discuss. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
excited and also sad to talk about some of
I
these.
know. Yeah.
Well, should we give some trigger warnings first, just in case
Mm,
anyone wants to read the book?
yeah.
What do we have? Well, obviously war, um,
Mm-hmm.
like difficult living conditions. There's also um, abuse
Mm.
by a family member.
Abuse. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What else?
Yeah. Just a lot of violence, like physical violence, emotional violence as
Yeah,
well.
racism.
Racism.
Um,
There's a mention. I can't remember if it is an actual death. I can't remember, but there's a mention of some animal cruelty as well. So
mm,
there's
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, death. Christina says torture. There's definitely mention of torture. I don't think
Yeah. There is.
full-on like torture scene, but yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much most of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So let's get into the spoilery section. So if you haven't read the book, exit. This is your last warning. Um, run. Okay. So what do we want to talk about?
So,
Do we want to start with the sad parts or the happy parts?
oh God, I don't know.
Laughing, it's not funny. Okay.
It's not funny. We're laughing so we don't cry.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my
um,
god.
yeah.
Oh, so many. I don't know where to
I
start.
mean, just honestly, the very beginning, I'm not sure if it is exactly at the beginning, but at least during the first few chapters, I immediately felt a lot of tension from the moment they had to vote on that awful paper, like yes, yes, or no, no.
Oh yeah.
Um, for some reason, that really got me, because they were being forced to do something and they could never win, in any of these situations. and it was awful because they were forced to leave their family, leave their country, and just put themselves at risk for a country that does not accept them. And it was a lose-lose situation. It was awful. I hated that, and it just hurt to read a lot right from the start of the book.
Yeah. I feel like that's such a divisive tactic, and like
Mm-hmm.
we could I love that the author really showed how it worked.
Yeah,
Even though it was really, really heartbreaking, but like the way that it completely divided that community that was
yeah.
so united at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was so painful to read about, and like all of those characters that were forced to say, like, for instance, no or yes because of like their parents, or because they didn't want
Yeah.
to, make their parents feel like they were betraying them. Like it was so bad. And then
Yeah.
the characters who decided to go to war, I was like, no, no,
I
don't
know.
go, no.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
knew, like, as soon as they brought that up, I was like, this is not going to go well. Like,
Yeah,
there's no way that
exactly.
this is going to go well.
yeah,
No
and I was
way.
like, oh gosh, it was so stressful, and I don't know why. Well, it's not a good thing, but like I felt like more of them were not going to make it, and
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the end, I mean, one of my favorite characters died, so I wasn't happy, but yeah, it was very stressful. Like those different parts of those different chapters of them being like in Italy
Mm-hmm.
and France were so
Mm-hmm.
stressful.
Yeah.
There was that scene where they, like, the battalion was like, there were all the German soldiers at the top of the hill, and they were like forced to go up there to rescue like the lost, I forget what they called them, like the trapped soldiers that were
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh no, this is there's no way that this is gonna turn out well.
Oh, it was so bad. Like when the sergeant, like they're looking at each other, and he's just like, "Okay, well, boys, let's go." And like they're all going to die. Like
I know.
it. There's no other outcome.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so bad. And I was like, it's like your country is not being good to you nor your family, but like you're forced to do this. Like it was awful. Like truly
Yeah.
just awful.
Yeah. It was painful to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like the end of that chapter where like when Twitchy's dying and he remembers like San Francisco, that part got me
I
so
know.
It was awful.
it
Oh
was
God.
so but it was like so beautiful but also so terrible at the same time,
Yeah,
which is
that's the thing.
that's
Yeah.
always that combo that gets me. Like when it's like
Yeah.
beautiful but also awful, like that's really what gets me.
Yeah. Yeah.
My, like, the part that really got me about that was when, like, so all of his letters were like delayed, and so they kept coming in, but they were late, and like you knew that he had passed away, but there was like this hope, I don't know, that like one day like a letter would come in like after the date where they said he had passed away. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what it was about that, but it just made me so sad. Like,
No,
Yeah.
it really, I feel you so bad. Like that part
Mm-hmm.
really got me too. Like she kept on going because she was thinking that like maybe she would have like another letter and like more words to like hold him to her. Like it was just
It's
oh
awful. Yeah, it's a false sense of hope. It's awful. Like,
yeah. But it was but at the same time it's like it's really sweet. It's like I
yeah.
feel like the word that describes this book the best is really like bittersweet, because it's
Mm-hmm.
so like it's so much about all of their, because they're all teenagers. So it's so much about
Yeah.
like them being friends and, like fooling around and just being kids, but then also like all of that injustice that is dealt to them.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
how they keep like being hopeful and like, they stay kids even though they're like in this terrible
Yeah.
situation. Like it's it's very sweet, but it's also like awful. um
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's the perfect word for this book, honestly. Like, oh
Mhm.
God. Yeah, that like
Wow,
um
for
yeah.
10 years later for that. Wow.
I'm not surprised, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, bittersweet. That's a very perfect word for this book. I feel like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it always got me when in one chapter we would have like this awful scene where someone was being tortured or killed or sent to war, and then in the next chapter you would have like a first kiss or going to prom or a wedding, and it's like life just goes on, and
Mm.
it's incredibly terrifying, and just I don't even know, it's terrifying how at the same moment something so beautiful and so terrifying is happening at the same time.
Yeah,
Like
I think it's
it's
the
just
contrast. Like the
yeah,
contrast makes it so much more poignant.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
yeah, Tracy she knew what she was doing. Like the
definitely.
contrast between the different perspectives was really, really well done for that.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, you're so right, like about the letters that Mass writes to his father.
I
Oh
I had to stop reading for a second because I was getting really emotional on that part. I was like, nope, but this is too
all
much.
about it's all about him like being torn between wanting to do like the right thing and knowing that everything he does will never be enough.
Yep.
And oh, it
Yeah.
was wow.
And
And
questioning what even the right thing is,
yeah,
right? Like, what is that?
because I mean that's true. Like it
Yeah.
oh my
Mm.
gosh. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine being like, okay, well, going somewhere and like shooting at other human beings is like the right thing to do. Like how
Mhm.
it's like so impossible for me to comprehend. And I know I'm saying that from like a place of very, very high privilege. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, wow.
Yeah.
But it really, I feel like the power of this book is that it really made you go through all of these emotions, even though like you've never felt them, which
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah.
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 Definitely. Yeah. It felt very honest and raw in its
Mm.
portrayal of life just being life, and
Yeah.
in all the best and worst ways
Yeah.
possible. So
Very messy and complicated.
yeah. Oh
Oh
gosh.
my gosh.
One thing I
Mm.
really liked about the book was like at the beginning of each chapter, there were like little like pictures or like news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that that really brought it to life. And I don't know, I thought that that was just a cool little detail that they added in.
I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
the multimedia elements were just like
Yeah.
really great for sure.
I do have a favorite. I'm looking for it. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is.
Is it the drawing?
Yeah.
Oh my god. For me, it's like the drawing at the very end. Like I saw it and I was just like
Oh, yeah,
I
that
just
one too.
I almost started crying. I was just
Oh
like,
no.
no. The
Oh
drawing is
no.
like, oh,
That one,
it's just
yeah.
Oh, look at that. So cute. Oh
they're
my god.
so and then when you like turn it, there's like one paper
I
bird,
know. Stop. Oh my god.
and I was
Yeah.
like one paper crane. Yeah, that's the right name.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's my favorite. I'm gonna show you my second favorite. If I can find it, because
It's
apparently
at the beginning. It's like not
yeah, it's also like it's this big illustration when they're talking about, which is okay, I found
yeah. It's
it.
after the. It's
Here it is.
yes,
Yeah,
so pretty.
like when they are talking about, that's one of my favorite and least favorite parts of the book because it's heartbreaking. But when they're talking about things you can take with you and things you have to leave behind
Oh
and all
yeah,
of those
no.
lists, I was like,
Yeah.
oh
That
god.
chapter was that chapter was so good. I think it's
Yeah.
is it Shig's perspective?
I
I think
think
so.
so. Yeah, it is. What stays, what gives, what goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
chapter too.
That was a really really good chapter, and the way that it ends
Yeah,
with like I think I think it ends with him like being like what stays, and it's like your anger or something.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
good.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Things
yeah,
that don't take up any space at all. My humor, my courage, my joy. Like,
yeah.
oh,
Oh, and then things they've taken: my home, my friends, my community. Like, it's awful. I hate this.
And
Oh
that
God.
scene, oh, I really, really love though that scene at the end when they're back in Japantown and
Mhm.
there are like a white family. There's a white family being exposed for like not
Mm.
exposed, that's not the word, but you know, they need to leave the apartment because they're coming back from the camp.
Yeah.
And like this young girl, like the young white girl comes over to talk to them. That scene was so freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what
Like
it is.
how she's standing up to her parents and then coming over and then he's just like she needs to remember, like she can't just forget about this one conversation that we had, and so he gives her the drawing.
Yeah. I
It
love
was so
that.
good. I love Minao. I'm not sure how you're
Oh
supposed to,
yeah.
but I
Um,
love him. He's definitely like one of my favorite characters.
he's amazing. Yeah.
I
Oh,
also feel like that scene at the end was like they were giving the girl the drawing, but also like the author was giving the reader the drawing because then like the next page is like the drawing, and so I
Yeah,
think that she was trying to be like never let this like be forgotten.
yeah,
Like
like
I thought it was such a good way to end it.
and it's like art making you remember like in
Yeah,
different ways, like the drawing and the book are the same kind
Mhm.
of. Yeah, it's
yeah.
very meta. I love it. I love when books do that, so that's probably why it's like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that part was
Oh,
so good too.
yeah.
Once again, bittersweet.
Very bittersweet.
Oh, but yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
That these scenes also of them like having to leave everything behind, and like the scene with the piano really got me too.
Oh my God.
I knew you were going to. I knew I was going to get you
I
too.
know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that scene was. It was once again like it's such a good scene because she's just like playing that song like one last time on the street. Like it's such a powerful image, but
It
it's so
is.
sad.
And then later they talk about how music connects all of them. Like
Yeah,
it's beautiful. I loved that. It was a very small detail, like a very small sentence, but it
but
is there, and I
but
love
it
it.
weaved through because also at the
Yeah,
end they're going to that concert and then they're talking
exactly.
with the two black ladies and like
Exactly.
oof, yeah,
Yeah.
so good.
Art never forgets. That's the
Hmm.
message.
Yeah, no, that's for
Yeah.
sure, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of
I
my
love it.
favorite passages was like right at the beginning. It was um when they were like heading to Tanfran. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And who was I like forget which perspective is which. Um
I'm also
but
confused with all the perspectives. Is it Minna?
Shay was like sitting on the train and it says, I spent the ride unfolding and refolding the last piece of origami, following the
Oh yeah.
creases Dad made years ago, a rabbit appearing and disappearing in my hands like a magic trick. There and gone, there and gone. I was like,
Oh
that's so
yeah.
sad.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I love that scene too, though. I
Yeah.
hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of scenes are like they're good because they're powerful, but they really hurt your soul like
yeah.
deeply.
Yeah.
um, but yeah. Oh, and that scene. Oh my gosh, what's his name? The one who's sorry.
It's fine.
That
There's
sounded,
a lot of perspectives, yeah.
that sounded so rude. Kiyoshi. The one
Right.
who the guy um who's from Los Angeles. He's not from San
Mm.
Francisco. He's like the guy, the booth guy. You know,
Yeah.
like that's how she refers to him. But
True.
him when he gets like with I think it's with Stan, and they're like in that jail, like in the camp. And you know how he always like freezes and he because obviously he's traumatized, like
Yeah.
he has PTSD
Yeah. Yeah.
from the abuse of his stepfather, and like he always freezes. But when that one man, I don't remember what the title of the man was, like he's like a surgeon
Mhm.
or something or
Yeah.
whatever, and he's like you're either like cooperating or you're all going like in the prison, that like the other part of the prison anyway. And
Mhm.
he steps forward, like he
Yeah.
doesn't freeze, he
Yeah.
steps forward. That part
Yeah.
was so good.
It was
Yeah.
a strong scene. Yeah.
And then everybody steps up too, so he like the guy has no choice but just to like leave them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Go
Oh
away.
my gosh, that was
Yeah.
it was such a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really, really love his perspective too.
Me too. Yeah. I feel like I love all of them because they all give such a unique, like, I don't know, part of the story to the
Yeah.
book. They each have similar experience, but also very different ones within their families. So it's always interesting to see what they bring to the table and see how their character develops. Like that scene you were talking about is so powerful because of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Because
love that.
he always feels like he's like weak and like
Yeah,
he can't do anything, and the entire time I was like, no, you're
yeah,
like you're strong, you just have like trauma, like
yeah,
I wanted
yeah.
to protect him like at all
I
costs.
know.
Oh, so when he stepped up I was like, yes.
Yeah, and he was probably very scared, but he did it anyway.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so good.
obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a very, very beautiful scene.
yeah,
Well, not actually, yeah, that's true. It's
it
like
is true.
very, very simple writing, but at the same time, it has like so many layers.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Yeah. I feel like all words mattered in the book, like every
Yeah,
sentence counted for something.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, they were such simple scenes, but that's all you need, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved
Mm-hmm.
also how the tone of each chapter was so different. Like
Mm-hmm.
you could really tell it was a different perspective,
Yeah.
even though like, she's one writer, but every single like every character had a very distinct voice, which I really
Mm-hmm.
liked. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of them were more angry, some of them were more like not, not I don't know. There's a word that I keep, it's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember what it
Mm-hmm.
is.
I don't know.
Ah. It will come back. But
Yeah.
like some of them were like more angry and like so aware of what's going on, and then some of them
Mm-hmm.
were a little bit more carefree. Carefree is the word.
Carefree. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and they're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to stay like hopeful and optimistic, and then some of them are like super angry and like they
Mm-hmm.
just want to break everything. So
Exactly.
yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am glad for the character guide though, because sometimes I also like mixed a few of them up. I feel like it was like because some families had like 3 children or something like that.
Yeah,
I
like
think.
there's Mas, Shig, and Minnow, and
Yeah,
they're like
exactly.
yeah.
Oh, I just noticed this. I didn't even know that this was here.
Oh
Like
yeah, I
we
was
say
gonna
it-
ask you, Sophia, because you listened to the audiobook. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah. How
I
like
just
how did you feel about the different perspectives? Like
Yeah.
was it confusing or what do you think?
so I liked like they had a different narrator for each perspective, which was
That's
helpful.
good. That's
Like it was
good.
Really?
like a full cast.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's
Wow.
amazing. That's like 14 actors.
Yeah, it was huge.
That's
Like the
great.
list at the beginning, they like listed all the authors, and I was like, oh my goodness. um, but I still felt like I think reading the book, like the physical copy, I think might have been helpful in like keeping things separated.
Mhm.
And also there was a lot of like formatting things that I'm like noticing looking through the book now that wasn't really emphasized that much. Like the
Okay.
part at the end when there's like all of the like
Yeah.
American Japanese thing, like I didn't really understand. Like as I was
Yeah.
listening to it, it didn't really make sense like what was
Mm.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
yeah, I think if I reread it, I would reread the physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because now I'm very intrigued to listen to
Yeah,
the audiobook.
I just want to
Yeah.
hear the
Yeah.
voices.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that part with like the poems kind of like
Mm-hmm.
it's more poetic rather than prose at that point. Like that was really good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like who's I don't remember whose perspective that is. I feel like is it? Oh yeah, it's Tummy. Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tummy, who's like the little like quiet, shy kid.
I love him. I
Yeah,
love
he was so
Tommy.
sweet.
Yeah, I love him. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also really love Frankie, who's like
Yeah, me too. Me
the one who's
too.
like sent from New York, who's like very angry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I really
mean,
like him.
who can blame him, right?
Yeah, no,
Mm.
for sure.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh yeah, Betty too. Christina, that's right.
Betty, yes. See, they're all great. I
Hmm.
mean,
I love Betty's perspective because she was so much more like optimistic. Like she was making the best of things, I feel like.
yeah,
I feel like that was a big part of her character. She was like more
definitely.
bubbly and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
then she was also like obviously she wasn't a fool. Like she knew what was going on, and then she said that when she said that to Frankie. I really really love that scene.
Yeah,
They had great scenes together.
they did. Yeah. I feel like she always tried to support her friends by being the optimistic one, but it's like you're saying, Sarah, like she's not naive or fool or anything. Like
Yeah,
she's just trying to keep the energy up, I guess,
yeah,
which takes
Yeah.
a lot of strength and braveness to do. I feel like so.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that scene when they're like all like it's at the beginning when they all get off the train and they're like first getting to the camp and she's like so excited about this dance to like see this boy
Yeah.
and it just seems so like it seems so hopeful and happy and I just like can't even imagine like being in that situation and being able to like find something that you're so excited about. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's part of like also that age group, like the childhood, like young adulthood, where you're like falling in love for the first time and like
Mhm.
have these things going on. You just try and I mean, see the good in things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that scene was really, really fun.
Yeah, it's a really good scene, and it's really like once again like a big contrast to what
Yeah.
is going on around them, and it's like all of those individuals like finding joy
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though like their situation is very difficult. I also
Yeah.
love that about the scene before. I think it's before the boys go to the front. Like they're
Mm.
all having a party and they're like listening to to music or whatever, and they're taking pictures and all
Yeah.
of that. Like that was such a good scene too. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! And the one of my favorite chapters actually was the chapter before Twitchy leaves, and it's
I
like
knew it. Yeah, that's a
does like
great one.
it does like the countdown of the
Yeah.
hours.
I know. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That chapter was so good. I don't remember the girl's name. Is it? I'm
Oh,
trying.
I have to look it up.
Oh, it's Kiko. Kiko?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah,
I
that
loved her
chapter.
character too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved at the end when her and Minao are talking and he's like and Minao says I loved him and she's like yeah we all did but he's like no I love him and then they like meet in their
I
grief
know.
like
I know.
And there's that sentence where it's like, it wasn't the arms that we both needed, but it was like the arms
oh
that we had. And I was like, oh,
I cried.
I know. I was listening to that on the audiobook actually today, like as I was driving, and I
Oh
literally
god.
started bawling as I was driving.
Oh.
It was so
Oh
sad.
no. Yeah.
That's a safety hazard Sophia you shouldn't listen to
I
books on
know.
Yeah. Do not listen to this while you're driving.
I
Everyone,
know.
yeah
kids, be careful.
if there's anything you should remember from this live show do not listen. Oh my gosh, but yeah, that scene was so good. And like I
Yeah.
knew it from the beginning. I was like, he has a crush on
Yeah.
Kitty. Like I
Yeah.
was just like, I'm sure of it. And then yeah, we
Oh,
got to the end and I was just like, no.
I
Oh,
know.
it hurt. It hurt.
I know.
oh gosh.
Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I wonder, like, has this author written any other books?
Yeah,
I
she's
don't
written a
know.
fantasy series. I didn't
What?
know about it.
A
Yeah,
fantasy series?
yeah,
Oh,
a
what?
YA fantasy trilogy. The reader,
What?
the speaker, and the storyteller.
What? Okay,
Ooh.
I will look it up right
Yeah,
now.
and
I'm
it's good. I feel like people have recommended these books to me at some point. I'm not sure.
really
I'm sure.
okay. It's
Oh,
this.
I recognize the covers. Like I've seen these before.
Oh, I don't, but
I feel like
sure, I'll read it.
it's like a book about books, I'm pretty sure, because I feel like that's how I heard about it.
Mm.
Well, I mean, the first book is called The Reader, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Okay, it's a trilogy. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
Set in a world where reading is unheard of, perfect for fans of ink art and Shadow and Bone.
Well,
like, when they do like those comparison, I'm always just like, it doesn't have anything to do with those two books. It's just
oh
makes
my
me
god. Yeah. Well, I'm putting it on my TBR now because I want to read more
for
books
sure.
by her.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Nice. All right, more fantasy to my TBR because I needed it apparently.
Yes.
So.
All the fantasy, please.
All the fantasy.
Let's hope it's not as heartbreaking as this one was. But
well, there's a lot of potential with fantasy to be
yeah,
heartbreaking.
Yes. Like the end of what is that series called? Darker Shade of Magic series. I was literally like bawling.
Same. That series is so good. Oh my gosh.
I need to read it. So good.
I need to
can't wait for the next trilogy in like the same universe that V. Schwab is working on.
Okay, I've heard that it's coming out, but then I keep looking for release dates and there's like nothing concrete.
I think it's next year.
Writing
it right now, I think. So it's either next year or the year after that.
I'm so excited.
Do you think I would like that series? Because I'm not sure.
I think so. I
think you would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's maybe not like as fantastical as you normally read in terms of fantasy, but I feel like you would like it.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. I mean, you should give it a try. The first one isn't that long, so it's not like that big of a commitment. And if you don't like it, then you're good to go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do we have more thoughts about We Are Not Free? More moments that we want to cry about?
Oh gosh, all of them.
So many of them.
Yeah.
I loved also like when I always love that when you're reading a book and like the title of the book appears in the book. Like I
like that.
And when she said like we are not free but we are not alone. Ooh, chills. Literal chills. So
did you guys read the like author note about like why she picked that as the title?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was so interesting.
At the end. Yeah.
Yes. In case you haven't read the author's note and you're watching, you're like, but what was it? She says, okay, wait, hold on. In 1942, my great aunt was a junior in high school, and in her civics classes, she was told again and again how lucky she was to be a free American. After she was incarcerated, she would sit in the grandstand at Tan Foran, watching all the people strolling around San Bruno, and she would say to herself again and again, I am not free. Words that inspired the title of this book.
Yeah. Which is also awful. Wow.
Yeah. The author's note was so good too.
Like, yeah, I loved it. Yeah, definitely. Do read that. After you read the book. I can't remember if it has spoilers actually, but I don't remember.
I think it's better to read it after for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That book was definitely so good. I feel this is such a good start of the year for our book club.
I was gonna say, I am so happy we read a book that we finally enjoyed, all of us.
Oh my gosh, me too, because 2021 was rough in terms of
there were some
rough. We should go ahead. Sorry, what?
Oh no, you go ahead.
Okay, no, I was gonna change the subject a little bit, but not really. We should probably say that Hillary wasn't able to come today, unfortunately. Yeah, but she also gave the book 4 stars, so that's great.
Yeah, I think this must be like the highest average rating between all of us we've had in a really long time.
Yeah, in a very long time, for sure.
I feel like it has. Yeah, the last one was The House in a Cerulean Sea. I feel like.
I think because we also really love Letters to Father Christmas.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, but that was a reread for me, so I'm not counting that.
It doesn't count.
But yeah, I guess you're right.
But it counts. Like we all rated it. Like
yeah,
very
I mean, that's true. That's true. You're
Didn't
And
right.
then
I gave 5 stars to My Brilliant Friend, but I don't think anyone else
Oh,
liked
yeah,
it
you
as much
did.
as I did.
But
I
we
mean,
all
I
did enjoy
enjoyed
it.
it.
Yeah, we all enjoyed it.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure. I feel like we read like Letters to Father Christmas, and then it went like, doo, and then we read like My Brilliant Friend, and we got like,
Yeah.
and now it's like we're back on the uphill again, like slowly
Yay.
but surely.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope the next one is also a success.
Oh yeah. I think it will be. I think it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
also really love the cover.
It's so beautiful.
The
I love
cover
it.
is amazing.
Yeah, they have so much personality. Like just by looking at the cover,
Absolutely. And
it's amazing. And I
literally,
love that it goes around. I love that.
yeah.
Mm,
And
yeah.
we
Oh, I
talked
didn't
about
notice this. Like the bottom part of it is like a photograph, and then
Yeah.
it becomes a sketch.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
they're like
Yeah,
graffitis.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
it's such
Yeah.
a nice detail. Yeah.
And I also love, like, I know we talked about all of the like elements in the book, but I just
Yeah.
they're so good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. They're so beautiful. I'm trying to find another one and I can't. Obviously. Oh, those, like, when I flipped
Oh,
through and I
yeah.
saw these maps, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
We're
And there's
gonna get in
also,
trouble.
I feel like there's also a picture, isn't there? Like an actual picture in the book. Let me see.
Yeah, there are
Oh,
lots
yeah,
of
there
there are
is.
lots of pictures, yeah. Like
Yeah.
2 or 3, I think. Wait.
I think it was
Of
like
the camps.
Yeah, like this one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm
good.
so happy we decided to read this book, honestly.
Me
Like, I'm
too.
so
Me
glad.
too.
Was
Yeah.
it you that recommended it, Sarah? I'm trying to remember.
I
You
think
did.
so.
I think it was Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Thank
was me.
you.
You're welcome. Because I kept on hearing like so many good things about it, and I was just like, this sounds so interesting. I'm also trying to read like more diversely, like in terms of
Mhm.
authors. So I was just
Yeah.
like, why not?
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
it was a great choice. So thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yay.
I'll try to keep on bringing good recommendations, good choices. We'll do it. We'll make it. We'll make
We'll
it.
make it. Yeah.
Uh,
Speaking
uh,
of good books, do you guys want to talk about our pick for next, like, club
Months.
next month?
next month. Yes, of course. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about it, Sophia?
Sure. So I don't actually know that much about it, but I feel like I've just seen it everywhere. I'm just pulling up the synopsis on Goodreads because that's probably more informative. But it's called Still Life by Sarah Winman. And this is a long synopsis, but what I know is it's set in World War II, and it's about like two people that like find each other like throughout the war and like meet up at different points in the war. And I've heard the writing is just super beautiful and it's very descriptive. Oh, Mary, you already have it.
Yeah, I do. I owned it when you suggested it. I was so happy.
Oh my gosh, I didn't have no idea.
Yeah,
The
it was on my
cover-
TBR.
The
It's
cover
very random. I
is
don't know.
So beautiful. I
It is
love it.
beautiful, but like I wouldn't imagine this cover being a book with that synopsis. So I'm a little confused.
That's true.
Maybe.
That's true, but it's so pretty though.
It's very pretty. Yeah, I really like
I
it.
love it. I love that it looks kind of like a tile.
It does.
You know, like
Yeah,
those
I love that.
fancy tiles and those like fancy villas. It
Yeah.
definitely looks like that. I
Well,
love
it is set in a Tuscan villa, so I guess it makes sense.
I'm a genius. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I feel like everyone I've ever like, and every time I see a Sarah Winman book in any like booktubers video, it's
Mhm.
like a rave review of her books,
Yeah.
like her writing.
Yeah.
What else has she written? I've never heard of
She wrote
any
like The Tin Man or something. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
she wrote another one, Tin Man. Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
Mhm. Also, When God Was a Rabbit and A Year of Marvelous Ways. I don't know what those are, but I've heard of Tin Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
It's signed. I love it.
Oh
so
my
it
God.
is. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I found this copy and I was like, wow.
I need this.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
oh, no, that's okay.
Oh no.
I think from what I remember, it's about those like two people who meet in Italy as the allies or like marching in Tuscany, and it's like a soldier and like an art like a woman
Historian, yeah.
who works an art historian, or she works for like a museum or something, and then like they have this meeting, and then they keep on going with their lives, but like the meeting impacts the unfolding of their lives from what I can remember. And then we follow like the soldier character later as he is called back to Italy for whatever reason that has to do with her. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be like very interesting, and I really really hope that it talks about like art and the power of art, because I always
hope
love
so.
that. I feel like it will, honestly.
I think so. There's a reference to E.M. Forster, the author, right in the synopsis. So I'm really hoping we get a lot of references. I would love that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Well,
excited.
it is definitely very exciting. I'm very interested. And then we will have to choose a book that is not historical fiction for the next
I know. We've had so many, because our last one, my brilliant friend was our last one, right? And that was also like kind of historical fiction-y. I mean, not really, but like set in the past.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is a genre that usually people enjoy. So it's, I don't know, hence why we tend to pick it, I guess. But yeah, we can choose something else next time.
But I realized after we had decided, I was like, oh, that's like our third historical fiction in a row. Oopsie.
So yeah, this will be for March and April. Right?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
So our live show will be at the end of April or beginning of May, wherever our schedules line up.
Exactly.
Hopefully all of the snow outside will have melted by then.
Will be spring.
Yes.
Spring.
Well, you can never be sure with Canada. I was reminded the other day that last year on the 1st of May we had a snowstorm.
Oh no.
Wow. Well,
So,
that's so late.
Yeah.
It is. It was
I recently went on a vacation to Mexico. It was so nice. But then and it was like 85 degrees every day. I was like on the beach, living the life. And then I come back and it's like 6 inches of snow for the next day. Like, I think it was like 9 degrees Fahrenheit, which I'm terrible at converting to Celsius, but like very cold.
I know. I think that's cold. Yeah, but I know nothing about converting either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
No.
Yeah. So very very exciting plans.
Yes.
Do any of you have any last thoughts about We Are Not Free, or shall we go?
I think so.
We're good? All right.
Good, I think.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Christina, for all of your comments. We really do appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for letting us know about all of your thoughts. We hope that you really enjoyed this conversation. If you did, you can join us for the next one. It's always a party. Hopefully, Hillary will be able to join us next time. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Yes.
So, goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.